Pastoral care. Pastoral care provides, as was said, practical and emotional support during life's transitions. And that is the need that's most often requested. Pastoral care, however, is also, and arguably primarily, spiritual support. What does that mean? Well, we are all called to minister to each other. And in the words of the theologian Thomas Merton, our job is to love others without stopping to inquire whether or not they are worthy. So pastoral care, broadly stated, is that act of offering unconditional love in order to repair and lift the spirit. And unlike purely logistical support, in attending to pastoral care, one must envision and embrace spirit and the divine as you understand it. As a humanist, I acknowledge the collective human spirit, representative of meaning that can be found in the world, in our connection to the earth, in relationships, in doing good by giving of ourselves. That is the spirit I recognize. I acknowledge a connection to the larger and profound divine that is the living energy that pervades all life within and between us all. That is the divine I recognize. So this act of loving freely, it seems like a straightforward thing. It even seems simple to love freely, but the execution of the same, it involves many, many complexities and risks. And that is why today we formally acknowledge with gratitude those who have undertaken the centering of this essential task within our congregation, our pastoral care team. When we undertake pastoral care, we are committing to a loving connection where one living being invites another to be with them emotionally and spiritually. And when doing so, we are opening ourselves to vulnerability as the person offering is doing the same. The author, Brene Brown, frames this as loving wholeheartedly, even if it hurts. And according to Brown, vulnerability is courage. Pastoral care takes courage. Plus, unlike a doctor who can often diagnose, treat, and cure a patient, most pastoral interactions don't provide a cure or solution to a problem, but rather a partner in struggle, another person, another life to encourage and support as you work through whatever you need. Let's get a little more specific to help understand, when would one need pastoral care or spiritual uplift? The pastoral care team is always notified for joys and concerns, for sorrowful times, and for celebration. And if you ever hear of any of these, please reach out to any of us and communicate them to the team. However, since pastoral care, as I said, is more than this much needed support, the car rides, the food deliveries, the convalescent visits, etc. Let's consider situations that would benefit from pastoral care, which often go unrecognized, therefore untreated. The word pastor, it also means shepherd. So the less obvious pastoral functions are indeed things that a shepherd might be responsible for. Protection of the flock, making provisions, shielding, refreshing, restoring, strengthening, encouragement, comforting, guiding, and tending to all manner of needs to keep the individuals healthy, happy, and thriving together. Therefore, pastoral care is also something like just someone to talk to or to sit with or to brag to because other people don't understand how important a success you had, or to complain to because other people take a hurt that you feel less than seriously, or to cheer you on, to ground you, to pray with you if that is what you do, to lift your spirit, to sing and dance with you, to listen to a poem you wrote, to listen to a plan or goal you're excited or unsure about, to scream to about the craziness in the world, to just talk to about a tough issue with which you're wrestling, to problem solve, to repair a relationship, to comfort if a relationship is ending, to celebrate a relationship that's new, to dine or to have coffee with, or even just to share a joke. And sometimes, in fact, often, our spirits need something we don't even understand until we ask and get it. So I encourage you all, ask. we're here. Spiritual care is simply about human connection. The author Susan Pinker declares that social contact is a biological need. It's like eating, drinking, or sleeping. Our bodies react to the loss of that interaction, that social contact, the way we react to hunger. We need to have a slap on the back or a handshake or a hug, literally or figuratively. And pastoral care takes that even a step further and offers a spiritual hug. And if you're like me, I need metaphors like that. I need a metaphor like that. Pastoral care is a spiritual hug. So I can better visualize this theological abstraction that is pastoral care. Given that, I'd like to take a moment to travel with you very briefly on a trip back in time to 2019, just after I first began my internship here at Northwest. I'm going to share a video that takes you into the room where my intern committee met. And one of my first assignments I was given in the class that oversaw my intern experience was I was to preach for 10 minutes on my personal theology using a single concept. So here's what the concept was that I came up with. I'm sharing a video for those of you who can't see in the sanctuary of me back in 2019 in a room at Northwest, and I'm saying free hugs. Coincidentally, my concept was free hugs, 2019. Over the past few years of seminary and my internship at Northwest, that personal theology has evolved to help me conceptualize what it means to be a minister, what it means to be a pastoral caregiver, and why that task is as important as it is complex. I talked about courage and risk in pastoral care. So even in that initial framing of my personal theology as free hugs, there is potential for harm, for risk. Not everyone can give or receive hugs, physically or emotionally. There are considerations of consent involved with hugging. Unsolicited hugs can cause pain. Even with consent, we cannot expect that someone will hug back with the same intensity or at all. When I gave that sermon to my intern committee in 2019, I could not have ever foreseen that very soon thereafter, just hugging another human being could severely sicken them and even be considered a malicious act, given the pandemic. Therefore, I have reconceived my personal theology as I wrote this sermon and my charge as a pastoral caregiver, at least for now, as offering free spiritual hugs. So let me share with you all what I visualize when I attend a pastoral care, in hopes that if you share in this visualization, you might conceive of the experience in a different way, more viscerally, bringing sort of out of your head, thinking about it, and into your heart, which is what we need to do. So everyone in the sanctuary, everyone online, close your eyes, open your eyes, whatever you want to do. I'd like you to imagine yourself connecting with and just absorbing into your being everything that is positive in life, all the positive life spirit in this moment right now. This is the moment we have together in beloved community. This sacred time is so positive. Absorb that in. Sense that divine humanity, that energy of life on earth that sustained and strengthened our ancestors and continues to flow through us and into future generations. You might imagine, you might picture it as some sort of bright light in your body, or a beautiful darkness engulfing you, or a soothing sound, or a feeling. I like the squishy thing you squeeze when you're stressed, or some other sensation, a smell or a taste. So imagine it somewhere in your being, in your body, in your head, in your chest, or as it is for me, I imagine it in my belly. And witness in your mind is that positive energy, however it appears to you, imagine it increasing, growing to spread through your entire being, your entire physical being, your entire soul, out into your fingertips and toes, through your limbs, into the top of your head, just filling you entirely with spiritual power This is what we take advantage of, this gift of our shared power to give us the courage to be vulnerable and supportive. We fill ourselves with the power of life. Now continue to visualize that spirit filling you to bursting and then surrounding you as it expands. It's all around us. And in this state of being enveloped by a loving spirit, this is how we greet a pastoral care charge. This is how I come to meet somebody. In that meeting, I freely share this energy of spirit to encompass both of us, to flow through us, to join us together in a spiritual embrace. And let's do that now. Imagine that here and now, your energy, the energy of others in the room, that light, that darkness, that smell, that everything, it's co-mingling, it's filling the physical space in the sanctuary, it's traveling through the wires and the signals online to enter and fill our virtual spaces that connect us. And now hold it, hold that energy, hold it, be in that positive energy, be alive in that energy, sustain the spiritual embrace, hold it and know that when you share space with others in pastoral care or otherwise, you can sustain that as long as it is needed and through whatever may be revealed. Have faith in the ability of unconditional love to provide what is needed. And have faith that that love spreads. When you take advantage of pastoral care, you can be deputized as a pastoral caregiver yourself. And if for no other reason, you should take advantage of pastoral care so that you may pass on that love. As you confront the trials and tribulations of the world, as anyone does, take comfort in knowing you too can wield the most powerful weapon that is unconditional love. As the world fights literal wars right now, as well as ideological wars that divide humanity more violently than I've seen in my 51 years. As ties between friends and loved ones are torn asunder by the weapons of hate and fear, we must deploy love to heal our spirits and our society. The time to easily change the mind of the many who have been swayed by disinformation and fear-mongering is unfortunately probably past. But attending to a person's, another human being's heart and spirit with unconditional love, engulfing them in a spiritual hug as we did today, is incredibly potent and powerful. And frankly, the only way to successfully retaliate against hatred and fear. Now, don't be mistaken. It's not going to be easy or quick. And building a beloved community even in our faith, let alone in the world at large, will take a level of courage and commitment that has heretofore been more elusive than we care to admit. And thankfully, I believe we're finally approaching an understanding of just how much risk, sacrifice, hard work, patience, compassion, empathy, and extreme love are needed to achieve a truly equitable human society. We also understand and embrace with joy at long last that we will forever remain in the process of this sacred task. So we need to practice. And so, as the life Unitarian Universalists we aspire to, as humanity aspires to, enters our field of perception, it is incumbent upon each of us to take hold with every ounce of spiritual strength we can muster and hug each other intensely, to know the world we want and need, our faith. We all must commit to setting the example of how to love more courageously than the world has ever known, frankly. Our spiritual care team is here to help us and to lead that effort. Love is complex and difficult. But as the theologian Paul Tillich says, love, it is the drive toward that unity of the separated, to reconnect and make whole that which has become or appears fragmented. And we are fragmented, we're bifurcated in this society. We need love to make us whole. Our pastoral care team has committed to fulfill the promise of that love, which brings spirits together, as scary as it is, and to model that love for us all. So as long as you are part of this community, remember, you are not alone in struggle. I urge you to take advantage of free spiritual hugs. And you get a second one free with the purchase of the first. I'm kidding. From now on, we will have pastoral care team members assigned to be present for worship online and in person. So please note that if you have some emotion come up in worship, there will be someone to sit with after today's service, and you'll find out about that in the newsletter. You're also always welcome to contact me or any member of the pastoral care team to request care, and I encourage you to do so, even if the only reason is because you feel an inexplicable need. No reason other than that. Please check the newsletter and website this week also to find out about a new spiritual care small group gathering that I will lead both in person and online. Hopefully we'll find a time, we'll put it in the newsletter, and we'll figure out how we're going to care for each other in that space. By exercising love that heals and moves us toward connection, uncovering relationships, interdependence, and wholeness, we fulfill our Unitarian Universalist second, third, and seventh principles. We commit to accept one another, promote spiritual growth, act with compassion in human relations, and we respect the interdependent, the love-dependent web of all existence of which we are a part.